Hello, today is November 1st, 2015, and this is Overgrowth Weekly 102 with Q&A number 18. My name is Lukas.
I'm David Rosen.
Hey, I'm Anton Real.
And I'm Josh Goheen.
And so new person with us here today, Josh, also known as Akazi. And you've been helping out with Overgrowth for a while now. So do you want to tell us a bit about what sort of stuff that you've been doing?
Well, right now I do arena level design, and I think in February I was doing the thumbnails for the item browser. I redid all those, and Arpi made a January character from his comics, and I got that set up and working in the game. And I'm still working on arenas now.
Mm-hmm.
You also remade the whole Lugaru campaign
Oh, yes.
in the Overgrowth engine. Can't forget that one.
Yeah.
So about that Lugaru campaign, when is that when do we want to get that into the game? Just I think people are gonna be wondering that now that we're mentioning it.
Right.
Not for this coming alpha, probably, but
Is there
pretty
a lot
soon.
left to do to finish that?
The main things to do, we're just missing a couple of the features from Lugaru, like fire and the staff weapon. So you'd probably want to get those working.
And
I gave you some staff references.
Yeah.
But what were you saying, Josh?
I was to say like how Lugaru, like whenever you beat the bad guy, the level would automatically transition into your next level. So that still needs to be done as well.
So we just have to make the whole thing more fluid.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And also with us sort of like in the corner today is John.
Hello.
Hey, John.
So he might be having some insightful information to share from time to time.
I just want to know how hard the Three Wolves level is for Josh's remake.
It's still pretty hard. It's not very balanced right now.
But that was a challenge, not in the campaign, right?
I think it was both.
But I thought the one.
Yeah,
in
I
the,
think
it was campaign.
but the one in the campaign, you have a knife. I think.
Yeah, you do get a knife.
Which severely changes how difficult it was.
If you know how to use it.
Yeah.
David taught me personally how to use the knife, but
All right, cool. So let's jump into what's been going on with the development of the game. So first we have like what's been going on with the team, I suppose. And we have decided to have Ryan Mapa, formerly from Humble Bundle, to help us with the transition to a larger team. So he's going to be helping out with time tracking and making sure that everyone properly gets introduced to the new systems and so on, so that we have a good, what's it called, organization going on there, so we can see what everyone's doing, and thus we can plan our time well.
Yeah. We can have all our spreadsheets and time tracking and schedules and everything.
Yeah. So that should be helping out pretty good, I think. And jumping into what we've been working on in the past 2 weeks, it says 3 weeks here, it's all documents, 2 weeks. So I've been doing a bunch of different things, but I guess, I was going to update the animation export scripts, but I stopped working on that because I ran into so many problems that I didn't know how to fix. So it's beyond my skill level, simply. So unfortunately, the updated animation export scripts will not be coming out soon by me anyway. We'll see if that comes at some point in the future. I also started working on a deployment assistant that would be used for, like, you can send in a level to it and it will automatically process all of the textures and all of the assets that's used in the level and make them ready for release. So this would be used by us when we want to actually release the game. We can just like run a script or something, and then we have all the assets that we need without having to manually go in and make sure that everything is actually included. And this could also be used for modding stuff in the future, I'm guessing. Like if you made a level or something and you want to make sure all the assets are compiled, you could just throw in your level there and it will compile everything for you. And then I've been working with Brian on the time planning systems. Hopefully we'll be starting to use those pretty soon, I think. So what have you people been doing? David, what have you been up to these past 2 weeks?
So I've been working mostly like higher level planning, like figure out who's on the team and who's not and what everyone should be doing. Because Jill also left because she got funding for her robot project, Let's Robot. So she's going to be doing that full time and not helping us with our scheduling and stuff anymore. So I had to take over all of that. And I've also been working on the programming to some extent and largely like helping Max and everyone get coordinated on that. Because Max is crushing his tasks, so I've been trying to shift some of the coding responsibility more over to him.
Way to go, Max.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm also looking into more engineers because hiring engineers seems to be helpful.
I can imagine.
Yeah.
And I was going to say, Josh, what have you been up to? Or did you just kind of tell us already?
I would show like 2 images of levels, but I'm not sure exactly how to on here.
Oh, I see.
I think you can do a presentation sort of thing if you want to. Somewhere you push something. I don't know. I know that Mark. No, who was it? Man, I'm the worst with names.
Steve.
Steve, right? Steve did it last time. But do you have them posted in Slack or something? Maybe I can just show them through that.
Yeah, I'll do that real quick.
While he's getting that up, I can tell you that Mikko and I have been chatting a little bit more about the Overgrowth orchestra stuff. He's sent me now 3 of his sections stemmed out, which means that I get everything kind of pre-mixed a little bit. In music terms, stems are when you group things together that will ultimately stay together, as opposed to having hundreds of tracks. It narrows it down to like 15, and it's a little more conducive to working. And so he has one more section to send me, and then at that point I can start mixing it so that his sections and my sections blend together, and as much as possible make it sound like everyone who participated was somewhat in the same room and sound somewhat like an actual ensemble playing music together. So he's been doing that, and I've been working on my Rush Hour TV show. So I've been busy.
Cool.
Yeah.
Are you figuring it out, Josh?
It's taking a while because of the stream,
Oh, okay.
uploading and all that.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. So yeah, let's while that's happening, we can talk about when the next alpha is going to be released. So since we have David here this time, I guess you could take it. But I also know that we're aiming for a release this coming Friday.
Yeah, we're going to try and get back to a bi-weekly schedule. And so we kind of want to try to do like a code freeze this Friday and push that to internal testing branch if anyone wants to try that. Then we'll push that to advanced testing. And if there's no critical errors, we'll just put that in the alpha that releases next Friday. And then to try and make a video about that. Then we can try and keep doing that every other week again.
Okay.
Sounds pretty good.
So just to be clear, because I'm not sure I fully understand. Like, are we going to release the alpha this coming week? So like in 6 days on that Friday, or the Friday after that?
On this coming Friday is the plan.
Okay.
It's already sort of released, just on the internal branch. So that will just be the official proper release.
Yeah.
And are there many bugs still in internal testing?
Well, that's what we have to find out.
I
Try it.
we haven't talked much, but I know it runs on one of my computers, but not the other. So I'll try and send some bug reports to you guys.
Cool.
All right. So we have one of the images here. I'm gonna switch to that, like so, I suppose. Here we go. So can you tell us what we're looking at here, Josh? This image.
It's not really based off of anything. It's just kind of, I had this idea about like you're on the middle platform and you can like go down the stairs and basically wherever you want, but like at a certain time, like the water would rise. So you're kind of like have to quickly race to the top platform and like risk drowning, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
So that was an idea I had.
Cool. Did you have another image too?
Yeah, it's still uploading.
Okay.
Okay.
We'll just get to that when it's done doing that then. So yeah, release in 6 days, hopefully. That's the goal and the plan anyway. And Max has been working on a bunch of like build stuff, like making it so that we much easier and much faster can actually be releasing to Steam and stuff like that. So we're looking at, like, Max is currently setting up an automated build system where every day or something like that it's going to automatically take the latest build and put that, like, compile it and upload it to the internal testing branch and stuff. So that's going to be like really up to date, and it's also going to decrease the time it takes to actually make a new release by a lot. So just decreasing the workload and so on when that's done. So that should be pretty cool.
Of course, if you are on that internal testing branch, be prepared for it to potentially break every day.
Yeah, exactly. That's sort of the point, I suppose. So we have the other image posted here. Let me jump over there. I think that should do it. Yep, that did it. Okay. So I'm looking at the image now. Can you tell us about it, Josh, what we're looking at?
So I basically just thought like courtyards look cool, and kind of want to mix them together, and so I kind of bucked up this idea, and I thought of the idea of like having like a cage built into the ground, and like you can fight in there and you can jump out and go on either side of the whole thing.
Like these garden things, you can fight in there too?
Yeah.
Cool.
Would there ever be a possibility of spawning in those garden areas in your current plan?
Yeah, that's an idea.
Because they certainly look pretty. And I think what I saw when you first posted that image was that you can't actually see the gardens from the arena area, right?
No, you can't.
So it unfortunately makes it so that we're not seeing, the great work that's getting done. So.
But it's looking very promising, and this is just two of the things you've done, right? You have,
Yeah.
I know you've posted like loads of other things as well.
Yeah.
Do you have like a count of the amount of arenas that you've made? Do you remember like a number?
Like 20, 21 maybe.
Wow.
Yeah, that's a lot of stuff.
They all differ in quality, of course. So.
Yeah. I guess our goal right now is to just make sure that mostly that they like see what type of gameplay is fun to have in an arena and so forth, like what sort of areas are fun and so on.
Right.
Just trying to block it out right now.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
Yes, sometimes I get distracted by how, like, visually how it would look. I get distracted by that sometimes.
It's always tricky.
Yeah.
Great. So
how many arenas do we have total now? So if you've done 20, and I know that Marcus has also been doing some. David, how many arenas are there currently, and how many are you thinking might be in a campaign.
I think we probably have like 30. I want to test them all out, and then we can pick the best ones.
Right. So, but these are all kind of like rough sketches. These aren't final versions at this point, right?
Right. These are trying to figure out like the basic shape and gameplay of the arenas right now.
Mm-hmm.
We want to try and start splitting things up more into like a concept stage and a implementation and then polish, instead of just skipping straight to polish, which has been a problem in the past.
Makes sense.
All right. I zoned out there for a while, but shall we move on to the community questions?
Sounds
Sure.
good.
Cool. Okay, let's take this one right at the top for a Blackavar asks, could you bring back the toolbar to the editor? Why did you remove the toolbar from the editor? Being able to click that I want to move, resize, or rotate things would probably be a bit more intuitive than the hotkey system of E, R, and T that we have now. So yeah.
We could bring that back. Part of why I removed that is because it's a little bit overcomplicated how we did it. Like, I'm trying to, I guess, minimize our use of the Awesomeium HTML widgets when it's not actually entirely necessary. And in that case, it seemed kind of overkill for just a translate, rotate, scale widget. Especially since we have multiple other ways that you can do it. Like, you have the default Omni tool, which just chooses a tool based on where you click. And we have the keyboard shortcuts. But this has been requested a few times, so probably bring it back at some point. That's not on our high priority list right now.
Yeah. Doing working on making working on the user interface for the editor in general is something that I personally want to do at some point, at least. So yeah, like I say, David, it's not high on the priority list. We have much more important things right now, but it's something that I would like to make more user friendly, more intuitive in the future as well.
Yeah, so this would be part of a larger editor overhaul pass, probably, instead of a separate feature that we work on.
Yeah. So Blackavar also says, also when you control click, you can make it so these don't spawn, and then he has an image of these little squares right there. It's because when you control click, they spawn. Because they're really annoying. What even are they? When they are made, the command prompt labels them as history states or something.
Yeah, definitely should do that soon.
Yeah, those are the old patrol points, right?
Well, the control click, I was using that whenever I'm adding a new item type or object type.
Okay.
So now it was spawning placeholder objects, which were then used in the arena, like to place spawn points. And I would make control click do that whenever I'm adding a new type of object, because there's no other way to spawn them, because you can't spawn them from the spawner yet, because there's no button for it.
Yeah.
So that's kind of a development thing that is left over into the alpha sometimes.
Mm-hmm. Cool. I didn't even know that myself. I thought that they were just the old patrol points that since has been replaced, but I guess, yeah, it's interesting. And then we have another question from Blackavar. He asks, can you make an option like a toggle on a toolbar with all the other functions to snap objects like you would with control, and a toggler for single axis stuff in parallel with using shift?
This kind of fits in with the toolbar idea, which is just adding like a stateful alternative to the hotkeys. So you could probably add something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And if we're doing an editor redesign pass at some point, we'll probably just want to look at all the other popular tools and see what they're doing, and see if they have any ideas that we don't have, and vice versa.
Yeah.
Using the hotkeys I think is pretty useful, because it makes it so you can edit levels a lot faster. So instead of just clicking buttons on the toolbar. So learning the hotkeys isn't that bad of an idea.
Yeah, the hotkeys are really good, especially if you're sort of a power user. But then it also, like Blender is all about hotkeys, and that might also make it a little less accessible because it can be intimidating at first to try and know what they all do. So it's possible it could be helpful just as like a stepping stone to learning how it goes.
Yeah.
We'll have to see.
I do like that idea because right now we have this ribbon interface which works pretty well with that idea. If we have hotkeys for all of the buttons in the ribbon interface, you can actually just press the little arrow button at the top that just removes the ribbon interface entirely. So when you know all the hotkeys, you don't need to have an interface at all. Pretty much just like press the hotkeys that you need when you need them. And then the ribbon could be there for things that you don't know the hotkeys for or something like that.
Mhm.
But I also agree that hotkeys are very important so that people can work fast after a while when they've learned how it goes. So a question by Wake, who asks, will you work more on the asset conditioning pipeline to make it more of a thrill for content creators to get their assets included into the game? And I think what he talks about when he talks about asset conditioning pipeline, I'm guessing he means just getting a model from like a modeling program into the game, would be my guess.
It would be nice to make that easier. And I think that's a little bit more your area as a technical artist.
Yeah.
But I think we can definitely improve that because right now you have to go in text editors and mess around with XML and everything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've been thinking about and concepting a little bit about some sort of asset handling tool, like some way where you can just push a button to create a new asset and then have like browsing buttons and so on where you can find the textures that you need and so forth to make the whole XML writing process more streamlined, so that you don't have to manually type in paths because that's pretty error prone and so on. So that's not really a high priority at all right now, but something like that might be arriving at some point, and I think that would be one of the biggest ways of making it faster and easier to get assets into the game, I think. Because the actual processing otherwise is you just make the model and then you write the XML file and then you make the textures and add them to the XML file and then you're pretty much done. So yeah. All right. Let's see. I'm trying to find something that's not just David questions here. So Arpi asks, actually, what will the 2 new arenas be like? And yeah, I don't know. Are we going to have just 2 new arenas in the end, or are we going to have many more? I don't even know what the goal is there, but maybe that's something that Josh could chime in on. Maybe you know more about that.
I'm not sure how many we're gonna have. To be honest.
Yeah, we're gonna have one new arena mode right now, which is the one Mike is working on to kind of replace our existing one, the one that's just one arena that has a few different game types. And the goal is kind of to have a skeleton that can have any number of arenas or game modes added onto it. So it'll always have a beginning and a middle and an end, and it's just like a question of how much variety there is between playthroughs. So if we have a structure like FTL or anything like that, you can just keep on adding more things to it. Like now there's more arenas, now there's more weapons, there's more anything.
So it's going to be sort of like a roguelike type of mode? Or is it going to be more like... Because that's the thing with the FTL, for instance, right? Is you play it through it several times to experience all the content, then you can take different paths and different things happen.
Yeah. FTL is kind of interesting because it's basically an arena mode structure. Like if you think about it, the game is basically a one-on-one space fighting game. and everything else is just like a meta structure on top of that gives some context to it. So we basically want to try and have that same sort of idea for the arena mode.
Yeah, cool. So, Josh, in terms of what the arenas will be like, can you maybe give examples of some other ideas that you've been testing out in other arenas, if you have them on your, if you can remember those off the top of your head?
I can remember it.
I remember you had one with like an arena in a cave or something, and then there were spikes at the bottom, right?
There's
So many
of them.
arenas.
When there's been some where it's been like suspended on chains, something like that.
Oh yeah. There's a subterranean arena, kind of like in a big cave in the ground, and like you're suspended with chains, and you're on like this rock or something, and maybe it could be slippery. So, and like on some points it could be slippery. So if you slip on it, then you have a risk of falling off and dying. And yeah.
There's a ton of different ones.
I have one where like the arena's like broken in half from like an earthquake or something, and you could jump across from one half to the other, and in the middle would be like a crevice where you can also battle, and you could jump and platform back up on either half of the arena. So that's another one.
It's definitely a little more difficult for the current pathfinding for AI,
Yeah.
though, right? Yeah.
Yep. So that's just some examples. I mean, it's, yeah, there are just so many things being tried out. It's interesting to see. But I think a lot of them will be included in the next alpha, so people can test them out and see what they're like in their early versions. So yeah, all right. Let's take. This one is an interesting question. Did you want to say anything, Anton?
Oh, no, sorry.
Okay. So Brandon Rivers from YouTube asks, what other games are still in alpha or some pre-build before release that has influenced your current or future development structure? I keep up to date with Rust, which is a first-person survival shooter that seems to get lots of updates in, though I agree it should take longer on a custom engine since they use the newest build of Unity. So yeah, what are some? Are there any other games whose development structure has inspired Overgrowth's development structure, David?
Well, the original inspiration for the pre-order structure was Mountain Blade, which has kind of kept on doing that. And now I'm more influenced by the sort of semi-roguelike survival games. Like Don't Starve is another example, kind of like FTL, where they figure out their structure and then they can just keep on adding things. Or Binding of Isaac. I think anything like that is the best fit for an early access model compared to making like a linear campaign. So I want to try focusing on that first.
So basically something where alpha releases or official releases are more of content updates rather than here's the game altering status or something.
Yeah. Invisible Ink was another one.
Makes sense.
Great. Sorry, I was looking at questions and stuff. So we've been going for half an hour now, so we should probably start winding this down. Have you people seen any questions in the chat or any other questions in the document that you would really like to have answered before we round it off?
John, everyone wants to know what you're doing in the background.
I'm gonna come clean. I'm playing Destiny, but
They
not very
guessed
well.
correct.
I'm getting owned in Destiny, actually, is what I should say.
They're saying that they can't believe you're playing with no sound.
Well, this is more important. I wanted to hear the show. Also,
So there you go.
You would be hearing my failures again and again. I've died about 30 times here in a row. So
Congratulations.
So yeah, I'm just. I guess I didn't say that in the beginning, but I'm living with John now for a little while, and then I'm gonna move on to another place to live here in America.
America.
I like your giant flag
Professional vagrancy.
to demonstrate.
Hmm. So
In
yeah,
case we were confused where you were, Lucas. Now,
exactly.
Old glory. America.
That's exactly my thought. Yeah, whatever. Like every day when I wake up, I'm like, where am I? And I'm like, all right, America, good. Because I sleep right here on this fold-out couch too, so under the flag. It's very good, very good.
we've all slept there at some point in our life.
And if we haven't, it's just a matter of time.
Josh, I think you're next. Come to San Francisco.
Hey, you're welcome, Josh. You want to come over?
Yeah, that'd be awesome to come visit sometime.
So,
Cool. So let's see, where did my notes go? There we are. Right. So you can follow OG Weekly on Twitter and on YouTube for updates on when the episodes are released and when we're gonna stream and so on. And on ogweekly.com we have the archives where you can see all the videos. So yeah, thank you for tuning in, everyone, and we will see you again in 2 weeks. Bye.
hey guys.